Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here. Grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day, folks. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe. Excuse me. Give the video a like, leave me a comment, and by all means, share it with somebody that might get something out of it. Guys, how is everybody today, guys? What an absolutely gorgeous day. 88 degrees, sunny here in Boston, without being particularly muggy, and super productive. I've been getting up a little bit earlier lately because I gotta take care of some landscaping we just put into the property, so it's nice to get over there early and water the plants. And I'm kind of liking it because I'm starting my day a little bit earlier, and I'm able to get to work a little bit sooner, and then finish up a little bit earlier, and then go to the gym or in the middle of the afternoon when I still feel a lot better. So I'm getting much better workouts in, and then I'll come back and post my videos, eat my dinner, and then I'll go back and water the plants a second time. And that's only for a couple of weeks, but not only is it easy money, but I'm liking what it's doing for my schedule, and that's the thing, guys. I find ways to take on my responsibilities and make them and tailor them to fit, and no matter what comes up, I'm able to find a way to incorporate it into me being a positive for myself instead of a taxing situation. And again, that's not something I was ever able to do before, and I think that's because I've become a big part of that is because I'm learning balance, and I'm learning how to my head's getting clear. And I'm learning how to just make things work and make them work in a positive manner, guys. My life is incredibly blessed today, and it's just getting better and better constantly. That's why I encourage you guys. As I so like to do, guys, I went and read my just for today NA meditation, and it's one of my favorites yet. And the topic for today is build, not destroy. And guys, it's beautiful. Our negative sense of self has been replaced by a positive concern for others. And then the affirmation is, though I may be low, I don't have to tear somebody else down to lift myself up. Today, I will replace my negative sense of self with positive concern for others. I will build, not destroy. And that really, I mean, I feel like I say this all the time. It's amazing how these things apply. And it lets me know that I'm living right where I should be, because that's a huge part of it. And guys, I was surrounded by so much negativity. I talked about it. I'm doing the media blackout and TV blackout and this and that, and I had to cut out so many relationships in my life, and a huge part of that. And some of them, like I said, I was talking about a little bit yesterday. I'm still tied to some people, so when they come back a little bit and like, oh hey, hang on, I tell them straight up today, guys. You know what? You're just a negative person, and I'm weeding myself off of the negativity, and I'm really liking the results, and I'm just trying to be as positive and look for the blessings in everything, and I'm finding it, and then I'm finding that it multiplies my blessings. And a big part of that for myself, guys, I talked about this a lot. I mean, this was my biggest concern, was why did I hate myself so much that I was poisoning myself every day. And I knew at heart I wasn't a bad person, right? But what it was, guys, I wasn't giving myself my thoughts, my needs, and my concerns any credit. And it's funny, in trying to help another person. Again, it was like this massive revelation to me the night that I slipped, and then I went out and helped that girl get into her car. And I know I talk about it all the time, guys. It was a seemingly meaningless little interaction that drastically altered the trajectory of my life, because I realized that I was always happiest, and I was always looking for situations, and whenever a situation came up, I was always the first to jump in and do that. And I thought about it, and it hit me like a ton of bricks that night, because I found my higher power, and I'm starting to live intentionally, and I was actually looking at things and trying to figure out the definitions and the parameters from which I want to work in my life. And that was huge. I understood that when I'm making somebody else feel better, and that's another gift I always had, guys. I could always look at anybody, and no matter how bad they were feeling about themselves, I could look at them and show them what their positive aspects were and what they should be focusing on. As a matter of fact, I have a cousin who has a master's in psychology, and I remember hanging out years ago. She was shocked. Well, I was talking to a friend of hers who was feeling really down, and she was having trouble with people at work, and we were just talking, and it's funny, I noticed my cousin just sitting back taking it all in. I finally looked at her, I go, what's up with you over there? And she's like, I'm so shocked right now. She goes, literally, I've been taking 4 years of psychology, and everything you just said for the last hour was literally what I've been studying. Like, literally, this could be a class on psychology. It's just something I'm really good at. It's always been something that mattered to me. But again, back in those days, I was so busy poisoning myself with drugs and trying to be this tough guy, 1% biker, criminal, either a half-assed drug dealer or, and that's just not me, guys. I'm like, I can't stand hurting somebody. I can't stand to see somebody suffer. I'm just not somebody who wants to go around me. Don't get me wrong, guys. Back me into a corner and I come out swinging. I grew up bullied in middle school, and then my uncle taught me to box, and that was a beautiful thing because nobody ever picked on me again. But it gave me this larger than life persona because I was in like 8th grade and I beat up the senior football captain. He was at 125 pounds on me. I throw hands really really well, and I don't like to, and I won't do so unless I'm actually absolutely backed into a corner. And I'm like, you know what? Just because I have the ability doesn't mean that's who I am. Because you know what, people that are like that go out and start fights every weekend. I've never started a fight in my life. I've finished many of them, and 90% of the time is when somebody else was, actually probably 100% of the time, is when either somebody slapped a girl in front of me or they were bullying somebody else. And that's one thing I will not do. I will not witness bullying and not step in and absolutely berate the bully. And I enjoy doing that. I have no problem with that. But again, all these things finally I started to take stock of and realize that I like to build people up. I like to be somebody that's making somebody else feel good. And then I also realized that in order to do that, in order to do to be able to be there to help other people, I had to fill myself up. But not only that, but that became easier because when I started looking at these positive qualities and looking at how much I like to help other people and how much I like to build other people, and I don't like to be a part of anybody tearing anybody. As a matter of fact, I will not be a part of anybody tearing somebody else down. I just won't stand for it. It's not who I was, and I never would. I always walked away, shied away, or tried to be the voice of reason. And it used to be the standing joke that when I was the voice of reason, you're screwing up bad, because I wasn't always that reasonable. So the more I look into this, guys, that suddenly that was the fastest way to change the trajectory of my life, because by focusing on trying to be of service to other people, it made me willing to be open and honest and admit to what I've been through. Because even my closest family didn't know what I've been through. When I went homeless for 3.5 years, I went black. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. And when I came back, I never really shared it because I endured some pretty vicious traumas while I was out there living on the street, guys. I was homeless in the streets of Boston. Boston winters are not pretty. I mean, there was many times I thought I was going to lose fingers, lose toes, and thought I was going to, freeze to death in the snowbank. And at that point, I didn't necessarily really care, and it's a shame. And all this changed when I found a relationship with my higher power. I found prayer. I decided, and that's the thing, guys. Once I find, and here's the beauty of finding your higher power and finding prayer. You start to understand that you are made in God's image and in your higher power's image. Therefore, you matter. You have value. You are not the sum of the mistakes that you have made. All you got to do is stop making those mistakes and start trying to do better, and then trying to help somebody else around you is the fastest way to feel better about yourself, because not only does it show you the blessings that you have because here you're at least in a position to help somebody else, but it makes you feel good about the person you are. And then you start working and compounding that by doing it again in another situation and again in another situation. Now I do it throughout my day as much as possible, and I'm being received amazingly well, guys. I'm so incredibly happy with the way that my life is going, and it's constantly, and the beauty of it, guys. I thought it was going to be these like miraculous blessings one after the other, and it's funny. The month that I got my rent voucher. That was all in April, right? I hit that roulette wheel for 20 grand. I got my pickup truck, my $40,000 truck for 5 grand. I won the Harvard scholarship. Like, that was all in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what? Like, this cannot possibly sustain. And it would be overwhelming, and it would cause a crumbling if I continued to have crazy massive blessings like that. And what I found was directly thereafter, I went through a series of hard times where I lost 4 people in the span of 10 days. 4 deaths. And not all my directly, super, super close to me. One was an older woman, but, one was my 37-year-old cousin. One was a 49-year-old kid I went to high school with. I haven't seen him in 15, 20 years, but we were very close growing up, and he was a good friend of mine. So I kind of understood. I said, all right, well, you know what? There's the ebb and flow to life. And that's exactly what that showed me. And again, because I was being intentional. And I'm not saying that they died because of my blessings, but what I understood was it's going to fluctuate. And what it's going to show me is that I now have the stability to handle that day in and day out and show up in the same mood, whether I'm winning a truck or whether I'm going to a wake. And that's the important thing, guys, is because I have the ability to build. Yes, I'm going to be respectful and I'm going to be somber, but I'm going to show up there and I'm going to be encouraging and I'm going to be supportive, and I'm not going to be negative and say, "Oh, life is terrible." It's not. No, I'm going to say, "Listen, you know what? Heaven needed an angel, and unfortunately, they had to take one today." You know what I mean? Like, you can make a family member feel better. Even in the worst of days, you can come up with something positive and you can build. And that's what I do today, guys. And because I'm doing that on a regular basis, God, Spirit, Buddha, Universe, Allah, the underlying governing force behind all this sees this every day. Sees it. I get down on my knees every morning and every night, and I put that first. I will not answer my phone. I will not communicate with anybody until I get down and I say my morning prayers. I'm not saying anybody has to do that, but I'm saying I have to. Because I used to get up and be all spun out right out the door, and I ended up forgetting everything about me because somebody else would have an emergency every day. And if I allow people to do that, then there'll be an emergency every day. And I don't allow that today. And it's funny, everybody slowly started to understand that. If you call me first thing and I don't answer, that means I'm not ready to talk to you yet. And if it's an emergency, text me, but I'm not going to look at my phone until after I say my prayers anyway. But if you do it repeatedly, I will maybe get out of bed and say my prayers and then look at my phone ahead of schedule. But that's the best that's going to happen, right? And that's the beauty of it today, guys. Because then I center myself and I think about what I need before I go running out the door to go put somebody else's fire out that I didn't cause. And that's the other beauty of it, guys. Because of everything I'm doing, living so intentionally and spending so much time helping other people, I'm not creating fires in my life anymore like I used to. Before it was always, the things that I would do, I constantly was feeling terrible about myself. Not that I was ripping and robbing from people, but I knew I was just making poor decisions for poor reasons, and the reasons that I wasn't proud of. And I don't do that today, guys. I take the slow route. I take the extra mile. I do the extra thing on everything I do. And that's the thing, guys. That's why I've had to weed out certain relationships. Like, I got a couple people that still call me 2 or 3 times a week trying to get me to jump for their lack of preparation, their lack of taking care of shit in their life, because they know I have skills and I can bail them out, and I won't do it. And I'll go about my day and I'll answer them. I'll respond when I do, and I just tell them, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that today. It's not my problem. You should have known this. I had a call yesterday. I hesitant to say too much, but somebody I know who's actively using, does not have a license, is drinking, doing drugs in their vehicle during the day, which again, I won't have anything to do with them. But always calling me because, my ball joint's going to fall out. My check engine light's on. Well, my truck just failed inspection. I got a red safety rejection, so I'm not even supposed to be driving the truck. And expecting me to drop what I'm doing and go jump through hoops to come over and fix it. And I'm like, sorry, we broke the door of my garage. I can't even get into it right now. And until I do, all my tools are in there. And until I get into the garage, there's literally nothing I can do for you. I'm like, you shouldn't be driving it, and you shouldn't be driving it with no license and with drugs on you, and you know what I mean? So maybe you should go have it fixed at the garage. Well, I can't afford it. Well, it's not my problem. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, and I would give this more concern if it was somebody that was doing well. If it was somebody that I knew through AA, or somebody was trying to get over something. But no, this is somebody that's still running around making bad decisions, knowing that they're making bad decisions, knowing that burning shit to the ground. They want somebody else to come and save them, and that's not where I'll put my energy today. But I won't run around and gossip and badmouth, and I still would take their calls, and I still give them a word of advice and say, listen, man, what are you doing? Like, look what you're doing. And they don't want to hear it. They're one of those people that's not willing to face reality yet. So I keep it short and I keep it polite, and I just say, all right, well, sorry, that's where it's at, man. Good luck, and I leave it at that. But at the same time, I'm not going to be a dickhead about it and berate them or belittle them. I just try to give them a gentle reminder, because again, I can still plant a seed of faith. And I'd let them know where I'm at. Hey, what do you got going on? Well, I'm working with my new teeth, and I got the truck, and I'm going to work here, and they're trying to get me to go back to work for them. And I'm like, dude, no, I've opened my business and it's starting to thrive. Your work's drying up, and my work's picking up left and right because I'm doing the right things, and they're not. And I hope they do, because it's somebody I care about. They're an old friend, and I hate to see somebody again. I don't like being that person that watches the spectacle of somebody burning their life to the ground. I'll offer advice, but again, I'm not going down with anybody else's sinking ship. What I do is I go hang out with the people that are building, and I help build alongside. And it's so encouraging today. I talked about it the other day. a contractor I was doing some work with flat out told me straight up, "It's like, I'm so happy to see you cleaned yourself up. I've always loved your work. I enjoy working with you. You always answer the phone. You do a good job. What work can I give you?" And that's the beauty of it today, guys. My world is expanding in the most beautiful ways every day because I've decided to build, not destroy. And don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying I'm not capable of destroying, because that's what I did for many, many decades. And it's just so pleasant to be on the other side of it today. And again, that's why I come in and do these videos, because I know I can encourage. If anybody's out there struggling, man, go back and look at my testimonies. If you feel like nobody can come back from where you're at, go look at my testimony, man. I've been there. You know, I've been to prison 15 times. Served sentences 15 times. Not, gotten locked up. God only knows how many times I'm locked up. Been arrested over 100 times. It's disgusting. It's terrible, but it's the truth. But I'm saying this because it's not stopping me in any way, shape, or form. I've got the most beautiful relationship with the Somerville police because they know it's all in my past, and it's not something I do today. They see me out every day building, working, not coming from bars at night, not running around 2 o'clock in the morning, leaving a drug house. You don't see my truck leave the driveway after 9 o'clock at night unless there's a property emergency. And then they know about that too because they're usually involved and they see me on site. Today, guys, I build, not destroy. And because of that, my life is being built. My life is being blessed. Everything about my life is absolutely beautiful today, and I'm so incredibly encouraged. I'm starting to ramble, so we'll leave it at that. Guys, please take these things to heart, man. Challenge yourself. Step up. If all of us decide to do this, we can literally change the world. We can make the world a better place for the upcoming generations. And wouldn't you like to be known for that? I mean, that's amazing, right? And that's kind of what I'm starting to get to be known for. And I absolutely love who I am. My negative, because it's amazing, guys. My sense of self was so negative. It was terrible. And that's so far from the truth today, guys. I can honestly say I look in the mirror every day and I love who I see. I've never been able to say that before. Any one of you can. All you got to do is do good things and do things that make you love yourself. And you will love yourself. Build, not destroy. Guys, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you in the next one.